Welcome. We have a special call today, and I was lucky enough to get Dr. Nancy Bryan available for a few minutes to share with us about our incredible fat burn. And we're going to talk about the study that just came out recently. My name is Marilyn Mosier from Northwest Iowa, and just so blessed to know Dr. Nancy Bryan. I'm going to read her amazing bio today, just to give you a background of what she is not only just a pioneer in pharmacy, and her story is incredible, but she's also a breast cancer and a melanoma cancer survivor. And she has an incredible passion for helping people live healthier. And that is why, because she's been on the other side of sickness and knows that with what we have with activation in our company, it is incredibly a game changer. So Dr. Nancy Bryan is a certified diabetes educator, certified geriatric pharmacist, and certified veterinary pharmacist. She is a veterinary and medicinal and nutritional formulator, nutrigenomics educator. She is a 2-time breast cancer, melanoma survivor, and warrior. She has 3 grown children and 2 granddaughters and a grandson, which she's babysitting right now. So hopefully he'll stay asleep. We love the grandma life, right? And she lives in Arizona, loves to enjoy hikes, hiking, golfing, water sports, watching her favorite football team, the Michigan State University Spartans. Yeah, my daughter-in-law went there. And so she's from Michigan originally, but moved to Arizona and has her beautiful family. And then she's also a clinical pharmacist and a formulator. She has loved helping LifeVantage through the Science Advisory Board, helping them tweak products and create products. And that has been so much fun to have her be part of that, educate people on their efficacy and empower people. She has a growing team around the country. She's also a LifeVantage distributor and a Pro 6, and just an incredible person. Love you so much, and so thankful that you're able to share your knowledge and wealth of knowledge with us. She's also has a master in biochemistry, you guys. This girl is just so profound in her wisdom. So thank you for giving us a few minutes of your time and sharing with us what I want to focus on. We have a new fat burn formulation a year and a half ago. So this fat burn has been out since 2015. But like Nancy says, she's been taking it since day one when it launched. And a lot of us just thought, well, if I'm not overweight, I don't really need it. But there's so many more great benefits of just taking this daily. And we're going to talk to her about how much to take, when to take it. Also talk about these 3 products that we really have found can be a game changer as far as health and regulating our, sugars and our fat and attacking that visceral fat, right? And just helping us live at a healthy weight, because we know diabetes is really an epidemic around our country, and people, it has so many affects so many Americans and even around the world. But why is this important to get our blood sugars under control? And what do we have to do for a healthy lifestyle, and incorporating our activators in that? So I'm going to throw it over to you, Nancy, and let you run with the call. And we've got Shelly on also. She's going to share the screen and show some of our fat burn slides. So thanks, Shelly, for helping out with that from Texas. And so Dr. Nancy Bryan, I'm going to toss the call to you and have you answer some of these questions about the fat burn and why it's so important and why it's so different and effective.
Absolutely, absolutely. So first, thanks for having me on, because I am passionate about helping other people understand their body at a cellular level, because we are the CEOs. We have medical people, we have functional medicine people, we have naturopaths, we have all these different people that want to help us, but we have to always remember, we're actually the boss. We're the one, right? So first and foremost, what I want to address, we're heading into the holidays. And one of the main reasons that we want to talk about this is, we actually are focusing on something called No Gain November. And oh my gosh, I loved it when I heard that, because there's something that a lot of people may or may not know, but during the holidays, on average, the average person gains 1 or 2 pounds. But here's the important thing to remember. Often we don't ever lose it. And if we don't ever lose it over a period of time, what happens? We're accumulating that through, through from our 30s into our 40s into our 50s and beyond. And so I love the fact that we're focusing a little bit on, let's get ahead of it. Yes, there's all the people in the New Year's resolutions in January, but let's be proactive, right? So having said that, when we're starting to talk about it, probably one of the number one things that I hear most as a clinical pharmacist and as a diabetic educator is, oh my gosh, I got this stubborn fat around my middle. What do I do about that? And you know what? There's all kinds of chemical processes that create that. When we're young, we have something called brown fat. Okay. And Shelley, if you want to pull up that slide real quick, that would be awesome. Because I think it'll help people get a visual of what we're talking about. So we have this thing that's right in the middle. This is called, for lack of better purposes, BAT, brown adipose tissue. And what brown adipose tissue means is that that's the fat that, we have some fat that keeps us healthy. And why it keeps you healthy, if you see those little dark brown things in there, those are mitochondria. And what those mitochondria do is they utilize fatty acids and they help that cell have energy. And so that works perfectly as we're young. But as we start to age, we start getting into our 20s and our 30s, and we start seeing a little bit of this or a little bit of that due to lots of different things, hormone changes, lack of exercise, different foods, alcohol, lots of things come into play. And what starts happening is our gut and our pancreas and our liver are not getting some of the things they need due to lots of purposes. And because of that, we start having things like white adipose tissue start to accumulate. The problem with the white fat is, you notice there are some little brown mitochondria in there, but very few, and they can't utilize fatty acids, so they don't burn anything. So two problems occur. A, you keep accumulating them because the body doesn't quite know what to do with them. And the secondary thing is, because you're not getting any energy derived from it, it also starts to accumulate toxins. And that's where you can have some real issues down the road. So what we want to do is we want to move more toward what's called beige. I want to give people hope. There's hope with Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's and all the things coming. I want you to have hope that we can get a hold of this. And so when you take a look at the beige adipose tissue, you'll see it has, again, brown mitochondria, those dark brown mitochondria. And some of them are absolutely able to start utilizing fatty acids again. And that's going to start helping us to maintain more lean muscle and keep from accumulating the fat. So that's kind of what we wanted to talk about a little bit today. And so go ahead and if you want to move to the other slide. What we found was that there actually are things because the first thing that people say to me, okay, what can we do about it? Give me hope, Nancy, give me hope, right? And I tell people, okay, there's some things we can do. You know what? There actually are some things we can do. First and foremost, you know what? We need to make sure we're getting proper amounts of protein. Protein is essential in all of this to keep possible muscle moving forward and maintaining. And it also helps in fat. So we have to make sure that we have enough proteins because they're precursors to what our body does with things. So when I talk about proteins, people say, well, what kinds? Well, what I want, the cleanest you can have possible is good. So if you can find clean meats and fish, they're excellent. We have a whey protein that is specifically whey protein in general, works very well in terms of helping with fat burn. So I think that's important to bring up. But there's also bioactives, and bioactives are elements within our environment that we can be taking that are going to help activate our body. And as you know, LifeVantage is an activation company. So what I want to talk about a little bit is our physique fat burn real quick and helping you to understand that we're not only a company that throws together something, we do it with purpose. We put things blended together very specifically, and then we test them, and we have the studies and the science to back it. So this was a recent new clinical study that was done on Sinatrol, which is part of our proprietary blend, and it's within our products. And I'll talk a little bit more about a couple other things in there as well. But the Sinatrol had this recent 16-week placebo-based study. And what blew my mind about it, and has been my experience utilizing it, I just didn't know all the real reasons why. But what I loved is that it increases resting caloric expenditure. What does that mean? That means when you're just sitting around, you're burning more calories, okay? In this particular study, and the people that they utilized that didn't have a change in exercise habits, they kind of followed a healthy diet, but none specifically. But in all of them, it equaled to 181 calories per day, not changing those other things. That is a huge thing. What it also resulted in was total fat of 5.2%, or around 4 pounds in this particular group of people. But 5% total body fat, 16 weeks, that's really good. And more importantly, look at what it did. It increased the ratio of the beige fat. That's the more energy dense and more efficient form of the fat we talked about. So the bottom line was 65% of the fat was lost around the trunk area. They saw a reduction in hip and waist size. Woohoo! Who doesn't want that, right? And then this is the part that really blew my mind. When the study was done, they continued to track them for another 4 weeks, and they found that they had weight loss even after discontinuing the product, because it activated the system to start doing things it should again. And as a result, an additional 2 pounds. Well, that's 50% more. So think about that if you keep taking it. I mean, to me, that was the exciting thing. So, and we could go ahead, and you don't need to leave that screen up if you don't choose to, but a couple of the things that I wanted to talk about is the fact that, yes, we have this Sinatrol, this proprietary product within our proprietary blend. And I want to talk to you a little bit about what's in it, because you know what, there's some people very educated and they start picking things apart and looking at it and they get all excited about things. And so I want you to be very educated in terms of some of the things that might come up that people might talk about, because in Sinatrol, it has a Mediterranean fruit blend of things. One of those things is grapefruit extract. Now, there's all kinds of people that lose their mind because there's medications that you cannot take grapefruit with, right? But guess what? This is why our company is so brilliant. We utilize products that no one understands those things. And there's something called pherocumulins, and I won't go into all the chemistry of it, but those entities are what's in natural grapefruit, why they interfere with cholesterol meds and some of the other meds. That is not in our grapefruit extract. So you don't have to worry. You're not going to have any problem with side effects from that grapefruit extract. It also has sweet orange and blood orange extracts. And you know what? Those things do some amazing, amazing qualities inside the body. So first and foremost, what if it helped to restart our fat burning process? That's what it does. Just think about that. It's going to start that up again and kick that into gear. There's a little thing called guarana in there. And also we have B vitamins in our fat burn. And what the B vitamins do, those are like precursors. They're coenzymes that help with our body utilizing things. And it's very instrumental when it comes to keeping our blood sugars normal. So I tell people, I have people all the time ask me, well, Nancy, you don't need to lose any weight. Why are you taking it? Why do I take it every day? And I can tell you this, I have a huge problem in my family with diabetes. And while we can never say that we treat, mitigate, prevent, or cure diseases, what we can do is we can say what the study proved. And what that proved when we see B vitamins being utilized along with the Sinatrol is that it kept our bodies having healthy blood sugars after a meal. Well, that's exactly what the drugs have to try to do. So why not be able to do that utilizing natural ingredients? And for me, that's been a real positive. Another thing is, what if it helps to maintain lean body composition? And that's exactly what we're doing by having those B vitamin precursors and the Sinatrol. Those are keeping our muscles intact and not utilizing those for energy. We're using the fat for energy. It's going to help move that stubborn fat to the beige place where the mitochondria kick in and start taking care of themselves again. And most importantly, it's going to give you a lot more energy. Now, the one thing I want to say in there on top of everything else, those B vitamins, along with the things involved with Cinetrol, are very helpful for our heart. They're very helpful for blood vessels. They're very helpful for our brain tissues. Those are all things that as we start aging, we see have complications of. So why not help enhance that? And so that to me is the real secret with fat burn. People always say to me, first and foremost, well, how do you take it? And number one, I tell people, here's how I start my day. I, of course, start my morning with gratitude. And I'm so grateful to God that I wake up every day with the past history I've had. So I start with gratitude. I do 10 deep breaths. 10 deep breaths releases toxins and things out of our body that happened overnight as we repair. And that's so important because now it doesn't have to go through my kidneys and my liver and all these other places to get out. It comes right out of my lungs. And after I do those 10 deep breaths, I have a nice big glass of water and I take my fat burn with it. So that's the time that you want to take it. The reason you need to take your fat burn ahead of time is it's going to signal the liver and the pancreas ahead of time before the food is put in your mouth, before it's entering the digestive tract. And what that signaling does is it helps the body's insulin to help grab onto carbohydrates. It helps proper enzymes breaking down things. And that's really essential. That's why you want to take it. People say, well, how soon? I'm going to tell you probably at least a minimum of 15 minutes. I probably prefer 30. That's about the time it takes me by the time I get up, brush my teeth, wash my face, and wander out to the kitchen and start the hot water for tea or my breakfast, right? So that's kind of how I start my day. But I will tell you, there's a little bit of a couple extra things that help the fat burn work even better. First and foremost, our foundation product, NRF2. We're talking about balanced chemistry. My biochemistry taught me one thing. Everything in our cell is balanced chemistry, the yin and the yang in the cell. And as the mitochondria are working, taking in that food and that oxygen, doing their job, they produce a free radical. That's an oxygen not coupled. That has a pathway, the NRF2 pathway signaled to go neutralize it. But guess what? As we age, it slows down. Exercise will help it. Good foods will help it. But our NRF2 synergizer helps it more than anything else that's been proven to date. Again, science-backed to prove that we reduce that by 40% in 30 days. In the process, every cell in our body is enhanced, which gives our gut and our whole stomach lining and all of our organs the chance to utilize what we're putting in with fat burn and all the other foods we're eating. Okay. And then the last thing, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about our collagen. Oh my goodness. One of the things that happens, everybody thinks about collagen as our beautiful skin on the outside and how we look on the outside and our hair and our nails and all that's great. But guess what? All that is a reflection of what's going on inside. So it's really important that you utilize a collagen that activates. And just like everything else we do, that's what we're talking about, activation here. Yes, we're going to replenish it. We're putting some more in, 10 types, in fact, in that little bottle. It's hard to believe. And we help maintain. And I think the biggest reason that some of that happens is think about our gut. Our gut is just skin on the inside. It's separating all the stuff from the outside from the inside. And it's not just a thing with holes that seep things through. There's actually chemical reactions that have to carry probiotics, things, microbes carry nutrients across. And so we're now optimizing that system by having very good collagen levels through our digestive tract. It allows every cell to function better. And you're now going to be able to allow things like thermogenesis. I love that word. It's a big word, I know. But basically, you're stimulating your body to utilize things to give you energy. And so it's burning things. And that's such a good thing because that's going to be how you keep lean muscle. This is the maintenance part. So it's going to enhance that fat burn's ability with those B vitamins in the Cinetrol to be able to help enhance the muscle mass. And I think of collagen too as like, think of a nice fluffy pillow. And then when all the the fluff that starts going out of it and you lose the feathers or whatever. Collagen is the poof, the plumpness in our cell. It's what keeps it out and fully active by being fully filled out. And that's what you see in our skin. That's what you see in all of it. But think about it in your brain. Oh my goodness. That's just amazing, right? So that's how those three things work together. And when you take those things and then you look at the study and say, hey, on average, you're going to lose around 5% of total body fat. Think about as you go. What I love about our products is because they're activating our bodies, you get better and better over time. And that's certainly what I've seen through my blood work. My oncologist now uses our products because he can't believe what he sees. Yeah, all he says is you're the healthiest patient. I don't know where it's come from, but I'm so grateful to have you back. And you know what? He not only says keep doing what you're doing, but he finally got to a point where he said, I'll have what you're having. And I love that. I love that. So I hope that that's not too much science, but I hope that it helped explain the process. And, I think that that should be valuable information for a lot of people.
Exactly. And you actually mentioned too on the Wellness Wednesday, something about that you see no harm in taking more than 2 capsules if you want to take another 2 at lunch. Do you want to just share how?
Absolutely. When you talked about how we had our first formula and then we reformulated a little bit. And so one of the things that they did was they thought that it was difficult for people to be taking some in the morning and then some at lunchtime. So they put a little bit more into the capsules. So those 2 are our proper dose first thing in the morning. But for people, a lot of times when they want to get a kickstart, I tell them, you know what, because we use tiny amounts of ingredients, we don't use massive amounts like supplementation. We don't have things in there that are harmful. I have no problem making a recommendation of taking a second set at lunchtime or at least no later than early afternoon. I don't want to keep you up at nighttime because there is a little bit of green coffee extract in there. It's probably about the same as half a cup of coffee maybe, but that green coffee extract is one of the components that helps with the fat burning ability. And so because of that, I don't want it to be much later than 2 o'clock. But you may find that if you do that for a week or 2, it kind of kickstarts things. And I've had some people take 2 in the morning and then take 1 at lunchtime down the road. Either one of those I think will work. But the bottom line is sometimes we have to give that little stubborn fat a little extra nudge to kind of get things going. I also am a huge proponent and have been for years and years and years of intermittent fasting. It's just the way that for some reason I grew up and how I've eaten. I don't know if it was my Irish grandmother, I have no idea why, but I can tell you that it is a good reset. And we do have a product, our NAD, that really emulates that as well. So you may want to check into that. But even if you do, make sure that you're not snacking late into the evening and then not eating until maybe 9 or 10 in the morning. That gives your adrenals, all those hormones, a reset. And I think that one of the biggest things we've struggled with through COVID and a couple of other things that we've had, so much of that dealt with our thyroid and our hormones and our stress hormones. All of those things come into play. It all is one great big circle. It's all chemical balance. And so if we can start activating all these different areas, it just helps your body to get there faster. Okay.
And then you mentioned the hormones. Do you want to talk about the TOFI?
Oh yeah, often too. You know what? A lot of people are like, oh, well, I'm doing fine. I'm an ideal body weight and all that stuff. Well, one of the things that we've started to see a lot of is, and it was brought up on one of our other wellness calls, acronym called TOFI. And when I first heard it, I remember hearing about it a few years ago. I thought, what are they talking about? TOFI? Is that like tofu? What is that? Well, then I looked it up and guess what I found? What it is thin on the outside and fat on the inside. And basically what's happening is before you see the fat around your trunk, before you start seeing that accumulation of white fat, you'll see high visceral fat around your organs. And that can be very damaging. And it's one of the precursors big time to diabetes. So we want to make sure that we're keeping that. So if you're feeling a little bit sluggish after you eat, if some of those things are happening, you're still in ideal body weight, just know that 25% of the people that are ideal body weight still have way too much body fat on the inside they're not seeing yet. And it's way easier to start getting that under control than it is to have to work backward. Again, proactive versus reactive. So, but again, that was a new term for me a few years ago, and I was grateful they brought it up because it's a real thing.
I love it. And so also you had mentioned that G as a guarana or
the guarana. And I think of guarana, it's a metabolism enhancer. Think of it as enzymes that are helping your metabolism to break things down to operate more completely. And so it's a very tiny amount, because guarana in large amounts can really be too activating, if you will. And so we have to be careful with that. And that's why I was so glad when they did this, that they did all the studies to see. And again, because of the tiny amounts, we have such a safe profile. And I love that, because most people that are coming to me have gone to every other medical person first and have all these issues, and then they come to me because they're tired of trying. And so it's really important that I know what we have inside. And the last thing I do want to mention, so many products that are out there, you see them on televisions, you see them everywhere. They're borrowing other people's science. They're saying, oh, well, vitamin C does this and this does that. Well, they're taking someone else's study that it did that, but that's not what's in their bottle. What our studies are on our bottle. And the last thing I want to end with is, you know what? There was a reason that when there was a 10-year study by the National Institute on Aging under the National Institute of Health, that there was one nutrient product proven to be anti-aging after 10 years of study over and over and over and over. And that was our Protandim NRF2, not because it's stopping aging per se, but it's allowing the body to activate and stay as healthy as it can longer. That's what true anti-aging is. And really, who cares how long you live if you're not healthy in the process? So it's about healthy longevity. And that ultimately for me is what we're talking about in terms of fat burn, collagen, and NRF2.
Exactly. And that's why we wanted to touch on each of our three products. I noticed when I started incorporating the collagen, I just felt satiated. I didn't have that craving, and I wasn't hungry. And so I really did feel it helped me lose some weight implementing this, but then adding the fat burn as I'm going through my hormonal changes, being that age of, post-menopause, kind of pre-menopause, that perimenopause, we get those changes in hormones, and our body changes and our metabolism changes. And that muffin top happens. And for guys, they get the beer belly. And so that's what this study showed, is that without changing anything in your daily routine, that means not exercising or eating differently, you're burning more calories at 181 per day. So I thought that was,
and that was on average. It could be more than that,
Okay. Yeah. And these were people that changed nothing about their daily routine, and it was 16 weeks. And do you know, were those people on the NRF2, or are they just on the fat burn?
I believe it was just fat burn.
Okay.
So imagine adding in our NRF2 and collagen. And the last thing, and I'm so glad you brought that up about the satiety, because there is a real reason in our collagen. It increases something called glucagon-like peptide 1. And I won't again go into that, but that's what all the diabetic medication companies go after. That's what they're trying to do. And this product does it naturally in a really unique way. And it also does decrease an enzyme that has something to do with our actual hunger hormone that's called ghrelin. And so there's actual real reasons behind that.
Wow. And that's just so perfect for no gain November. Then we don't have to stress out about our January goals to lose weight and get back into our clothes. So thank you so much for all your amazing wisdom on this product. And we just know that the heart of what we do here at LifeVantage is helping people not only live longer, but like you said, live more active, healthier, vivacious, and active lifestyles and healthier lifestyles. And that is what we're all about here at LifeVantage. So thank you, Nancy, for joining us today. So many great tips, taking your fat burn first in the morning on an empty stomach. And then if we want to kickstart it, we can do an extra couple capsules at lunch, but basically incorporating our products and again, eating healthy, taking some exercise during our day and just getting enough rest, drinking lots of water with lemon in it, right? To detox our liver. Thank you so much for being part of our discussion today, and have a wonderful rest of the holiday season. We love you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.